Be a lot about how many skill shots can Vert actually hit. There's not really a lot of dodging to be done with Nasus' E. It's so big, and it's going to be more down, I think, to how well Vert plays rather than how well Faker plays, because it's such a binary champion when you're playing Nasus without Flash, without Snowball, without Ghost, or anything like that going on.
Yep, two defensive summoners for both their Barrier and Exhaust. Kind of key to point out there. And again, even though this looks like the Howling Abyss, it is almost the same map you play in ARAM. The one difference, I believe, is that you can recall, so the players are allowed to get shots in.
Yep, exactly. You can use base timings, you can control minion waves. There's all of those same strategies here in this 1v1 mode. If you can freeze on your opponent, then great, you can go for these sorts of things. But as we see, Vert already going to be taking quite a bit of damage, and Faker's trying to kind of utilize the brush. Just there's no wards on this map, so being able to sit in that side brush makes it so that the range disadvantage is not as big of a deal. And Vert at level 1 maybe at a bit of a disadvantage, but as he hits level 2, gets the piercing arrow, he's going to really need to start hitting those skill shots, hitting his Qs, poking Faker down, and trying to maintain some wave control.
Well, again, had a quick check-in on the runes, actually. Had production feed us those. Nothing too stand out there. So, again, just very kind of standard laning masteries here, or laning runes, sorry, between these two.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. So Faker is obviously going sorcery main tree, but second wind, Iron Skin, kind of as expected, the defensive secondary tree is much more built for just kind of surviving. This is a little bit interesting here from Vert. So once again, he's not going into resolve, but he is going domination for those heals. Every time he hits Faker, there is a cooldown, but you can get the heal back from Taste of Blood. You can get some healing on your abilities from Ravenous Hunter here as well. So pretty standard stuff on both sides. Both of them going to take mana flow ban, try to keep that poke up as much as possible.
Yeah, and again, poke-centric keystones as well with Airy versus Comet. And looks like Vert kind of doing what we expect as the levels creep up for these two, pushing the wave in a little bit more, going to hopefully for him force Faker back under the turret. You can see CS right now actually sitting a little up for Vert, but Faker does continue to get that harass down, but 230 or so does tick by Vert, getting that first health relic.
And Faker even going 2 points E before Wither, so once again, very much so a focus just on farming, just on harassing. But I do feel like if Vert can stabilize this is super winnable, right? This is really, the ball is kind of in his court as far as this 1v1 goes, because there's nothing surprising Faker can really do to you on a Nasus without a move block and without a summoner spell to actually close that gap.
Yep, no Snowball, no Flash, no Ghost, no nothing to really get him in range. So there's going to be a lot of trading. Again, Vert still up on CS, but looking a little low on health, unfortunately for him. Faker getting a bit better of the trades using that E constantly.
And he is out of potions, so Vert honestly is going to have to base. And if you base in this situation, you start to actually give up the minion advantage that you have, right? Because it is tied right now. Vert is kind of trying to greed it out and CS some of these last minions, but basing in this position, he's trying to hope basically that the cannon will delay Faker enough and sees that he is going to be pushed in. But if you stay around too much, if you get hit by 1 or 2 more E's, you're very easily diveable.
Yes, certainly diving is possible in this game. Definitely a lot more dangerous when you don't have a mobility summoner, but again, Faker just with that harass.
Yeah, I mean, you hit 1 more E and he could die, right? So definitely has to go back to base now, and Faker's actually getting control of the health relics, so just straight up pushing him out. And we're going to have to see what the actual buy is going to be for Vert. Double Doran's Blade, a bunch more potions so far, so is going to be trying to have the extra HP, have enough lifesteal that hopefully he can kind of sustain through this.
Yep, and we see a lot of Dorans, of course, in this game mode because they are very cost effective. That's really all you want is stats right now. Faker mixing it up, again, really itemizing towards that farm win that you expected. Glacial Shroud done, got some extra potions, and of course, even a rejuvenation bead. Doesn't seem like it makes a big difference in Summoner's Rift, but makes a very big difference in this game mode.
Yeah, it certainly can, and when it's down to just kind of outlasting your opponent, any little bit of regen you can get is going to be useful. The Glacial Shroud, as you said, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, having a little bit of armor there is going to tank you up, but it's also for the mana, for the CDR there too, going to allow him to spam more and more and more E's, because if he cannot actually push Vert back, if Vert can kind of lifesteal and sustain actually through the damage that is coming out, it can start to get pretty rough, I think, for Faker on this Nasus, but I mean, so far so good for him.
Yeah, and again, Faker's last hitting him in is a player that's certainly renowned in his lane for being able to hit those creeps. I saw Vert miss a couple here and there. I mean, it can be tough on any stage to actually last hit creeps, and if that's kind of the condition that you or your opponent, or both of you perhaps in this case, are going for, certainly not a good thing when you fall behind even a couple creeps. We've seen 1v1 matches go down to the literal last creep before, so Halfway already there for both now, actually. 56 to 50 on that CS count.
Yeah, and honestly, when you do start to get to the CS disadvantage, it can pressure you into playing more risky. It can pressure you into trying to all in or trying to do something crazy, which if the other players continue to play smart, just puts you at even more of a disadvantage. So, Faker definitely playing more of a slow approach than perhaps people would prefer from the 1v1s, but this could be his pick. This could be the strategy. We've seen Nasus come out in the past, but it, in my opinion, is just even stronger with the new runes because of Mana Flow Ban, because of Airy, because of some of these masteries that he has actually chosen. It's going to allow him to stay out there and not run out of mana for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that wave almost instantly evaporated as Faker, with now 4 points in that E, was able to Spirit Fire it down. Vert continuing to take harass. Faker even has extra mana to burn there. And kind of looking at these two champions, we are now at above level 6, 8, and 7 for Faker and Vert respectively. I don't think these are champions, though, that have particularly impactful ultimates as far as getting a kill. Maybe for Faker, it just keeps him alive in an all-in, which again, if you're going for a CS win, is all you need. Now he's actually 10 ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say that Vert has a very impactful ultimate for killing if you can poke your opponent down. But it's not like you can just ult a full HP Nasus, who has a Glacial Shroud, who has Barrier, who has Exhaust, and just kill him. And honestly, at this point, when you're down 15 CS and you just base now, it's your only real chance is trying to get some sort of an all-in. I don't think you can expect Faker to miss enough farm that is going to be a viable win strategy. Faker has an easy base right now. It's a serrated Dirk for Vert, which is not going to be very effective. It's like that. Building flat armor pen is really strong against people who are not building armor, who are squishies, but because Faker already has a Glacial Shroud, he has tabbies now as well, it's not really going to get anything done for him, so it's looking pretty grim.
I think tabbies is the huge buy there, actually. Yeah. I mean, the item is already insanely efficient in every game mode, and in this particular situation, it feels almost untenable for Vert.
Yeah, and when your opponent has no boots, Faker actually does have the option to try to run him down now because you have such a movement speed advantage. If he pushes up like this, you could actually try to go for more of the style play and just try to walk up and kill him. But for now, Vert's got to kind of choose his moment. You're not going to win on farm by kind of playing it out slowly at this point. So you have to go for the all-in and kind of hope something's going to happen. Otherwise, it's getting close to kind of just a straight-up CS defeat.
Yep, we've got pretty much 2 waves.
Yeah, 2 waves.
Faker hits 89, so not a lot left.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, Faker could just get the rest of CS from range with his E, right? And Faker may actually go for the all-in here, but
might as well pressure, have a lot of health and your ultimate to work with. Faker waiting on that E cooldown, just gonna slam it down when he sees the moment. And again, more farm falls, only 5 left now for Faker. Even takes the relic off of Vert's side of the map.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, it's too late.
He's gonna proxy.
Go behind.
Oh, gets Standing Corruption.
Maybe it's not on him though, so he's not really in any danger at all. He can just walk back out. This is the last wave he needs access to. I feel like Faker's kind of messing with him at this point. He still has his ultimate. He's just going to go into finish.
He's got Barrier as well and Exhaust. Really nothing to worry about. Exhaust down there for Vert, but the wave just ticking down. Faker needs one more CS. They're going to go in for the Mono. And Exhaust down. A Barrier pop of Vert, but Faker will get the final save.
Faker with the +6 to finish him off.
I was at 99 CS. I needed one more, and you were it, Vert. Faker with a super stylish 100 CS win.
Yeah, he was the 100th CS himself, as you said. So Vert giving his best there, but it seemed like Faker kind of just outthought him a little bit. I mean, if you're both going to go defensive, Faker had better control of the minion wave. He's able to push him out with the Mana Flow Ban, with the Emax and the Airy. Pretty much just really wasn't Faker on Nasus, so it'll be interesting to see if Fofo can kind of outlast him. He did end up actually changing over to the Exhaust, so again, mirrored summoners here, Barrier and Exhaust.
Can already see Mana Flow Ban, as expected, taken by Bjergsen just based on the glowing blue of his health bar. But certainly did stick with those defensive summoners. Again, probably see a lot of those here in the tournament. Fofo not going to eat that first Q. In fact, draws the first bit of damage, Hail of Arrows into that Comet proc, and Bjergsen just going to go back. This is something you can do on this map.
And it's actually a pretty interesting start here from Fofo. So Boots 4-pot, a lot of it is coming down to kind of how effective this start is based on how many skill shots can you dodge, right? How much can you actually avoid from the Syndra, because you don't really have any combat power from it. It's just the added move speed. If you can dodge a lot of Syndra's skill shots, all 3 of them are skill shots, then it can become very, very effective. And you also have access to quite a lot of sustain with the 4-pot start here. So if he can dodge out some of Bjergsen's abilities and tag him with a lot of his own, Bjergsen is only on half the kind of sustain that his opponent has. So Fofo could play this patiently and look to kind of just push his opponent out.
Well, Bjergsen getting that harass started, but Fofo again getting it going with the Comet after the E. Kind of fun point of pride between these two as well. Fofo, one of his bigger international stages here after leading his team to 2 good-looking victories. Bjergsen, of course, a former 1v1 champion as well at the All-Star event. So both of these players looking to move on. And unfortunately for this event, it is best of 1, single elim, moving at least until you move into the later stages. So not a lot of room for mistakes.
No, not at all. And it's going to be some really tight competition because I do think players are starting to take the 1v1 more and more seriously, kind of as a point of pride, right? It is this thing where there's no excuses really on the table. It is just you versus your opponent. It is not your team versus their team. And these guys want to show that they are the most dominant player on the Rift, that they can crush some of the competition.
Yep, my hope for fun died when Grass of the Undying Caitlyn was a thing. As Bjergsen actually taking a little too much damage here from Fofo, missing all his early skill shots here thanks to those boots and some deft movement there from Fofo. So Bjerg forced pretty far back towards this turret. Again, a nice dodge there of the Dark Sphere from Fofo.
And when you lose control of the health pack like that, then that's essentially another full potion giving over to your opponent. So it's almost like you're in a situation where it's 5-2 as far as that regen goes, unless Bjergsen can reestablish control. But he's already had to use both of his potions. Still 3 left for Fofo. He does have the mana flow ban, so although he's a little bit low now, he's going to be able to regen quite a bit on that next spell.
Does get a bit back there. Bjergsen just trying to keep the wave in a more comfortable spot, but Fofo is up more than a wave of minions right now. Bjerg again trying to hit back, but the turret also hits harder in this game mode too. It's not as easy as it is in SR to last hit those minions once they move towards the turret, and Fofo just playing up and aggressive, not afraid at all. Even going to start doing some turret damage as well.
Yeah, and he's CSing very well. You know, already a couple CS ahead of there of Bjergsen, and Bjergsen is going to have to base. Fofo is actually going to decide to match that. I would have liked to see him try to pull up those minions and kind of clump them up, because if you do actually group them and then you base, more of your minions are going to be killed off by your opponents, but it looks like they've kind of stacked up anyway, so he is going to still have the benefit of that pushing towards him. That's going to give him even more of that CS advantage, and he's going to have a pretty nice buy, but actually pretty aggressive here. He didn't decide to go for the Doran's Blade. He's going double longsword to Bjergsen's Doran's Ring plus cloth armor, so this is a bit atypical to what we have seen in the past. Where people do really like to kind of just stack those Dorans because of their efficiency early on.
Yeah, again, a bit more damage there. Aries starting to do a bit of work as well for Bjerg. Fofo a touch behind on XP, but does tip over level 5 as the minions again need to get shut down under this turret.
The other thing we have to keep in mind here is this is a Syndra versus someone who is not building MR. It's not like he's building a Hex Shrinker or anything like that. So there is still the potential to combo him down at 6. I mean, you see how much damage that is alone? If Bjergsen is 6 there, Fofo does have the potential to die, right? Yes, he has Barrier Exhaust, but if Bjergsen is able to get up on top of him and continue pumping in that damage, you can combo someone out.
And I think in the best case scenario for Syndra, you're only going to get to use Barrier in most of those situations, not Exhaust you, as you likely won't be in range. So we'll have to see. Fofo, though, chewing through those potions, now only has 1 left.
He is 6 and Bjergsen's 5, so he's kind of posturing aggressively here, but getting pretty low.
Damage back, Chain of Corruption hits, Bjergsen out of mana, but has the summoners left. Fofo doesn't get too much off that ultimate.
No, he did get a little bit of pressure, but I mean, he's running out of mana here now, and Bjergsen does kind of have the health advantage, and he has a mana flow ban proc right now, so he's going to be able to stay around and kind of continue to threaten his opponent. Is 6 now here also, so Fofo definitely has to be careful, especially as you kind of called out for Bjergsen. It's the same for Fofo. If you're not in range to exhaust on the ultimate, then that summoner is really not going to do you a lot of good, although you obviously still will have the barrier in your back pocket. Yep,
Fofo though, grabbing a health relic. Going to help out a lot there as Bjergsen still a little low on mana. Grabs a relic though, that's much needed mana more than anything else. Doran's Ring's also helping out as he last hits the minions, but Bjergsen smells blood here. Oh, actually puts the ulti down, but the exhaust from Fofo was nice.
Yeah, I mean, the exhaust was alright.
Stun! Bjergsen, no, not through the barrier. Fofo firing back minions onto Bjergsen. Cannon hailing away at his health bar.
And it's good that he could get the exhaust down, but he actually had to move forward to get it, so most of the orbs had already connected before that summoner went off, and now Bjergsen has a double summoner advantage. He is extremely low, so he needs to base, but now, to me, Bjergsen can go for the kill. Like, he can actually start to control the mini-wave and posture and actually look for a 1v1 kill. He's hoping now that he is fake to base, so Fofo will then base and he can farm out some of these minions because he's staying around at really low HP.
Yep, there's even a bait brewing here as well, potentially, but Bjergsen will get away with that fake base, in fact, staying for another wave here.
Yeah, his minions did stack up, so he doesn't want to have it kind of pushing to his opponent, even though it is a cannon wave. He's going to try to shove that out, have enough gold for a good buy, and potentially set himself up for the all-in. Because once again, Fofo going for even more aggressive items, just more long swords, has this rated Dirk. He will be able to get a lot of damage out, but Bjergsen has a 2-summoner advantage, so he needs to kind of utilize that to posture aggressively and at least get something as far as a wave control advantage to get the CS back if you can't go for a kill.
Well, Fofo missed 2 minions. He's now up a couple as Bjergsen will have to return. Seeker's Arm God though for Bjergsen, again, kind of keeping with the defensive theme, and Fofo has gone for a full restock on health potions. He had 4, went down to 0, and now has 5, which is, of course, the max allowed.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's going to give you a lot, right? Health pots are extremely efficient when you talk about HP to gold value. A health potion basically gives you the same amount as 400 gold worth of HP stats if you're buying like an actual ruby crystal, right? So it is very, very powerful as far as that goes, as long as you actually have time to have them all complete their full run. So if you are kind of poking back and forth and you can utilize all of them, great. But if it is a straight 100-0 type situation, well, the health potions don't do much for you.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Fofo with a nice bit of poke, though. Bjergsen has a couple of pots himself. Only 3 right now. As Fofo again going to take some more damage. Bjergsen looking for the all-in stun lands, and there it is! First blood!
Nicely played there from Bjergsen. Forcing out both of the summoners, actually, from Fofo earlier on. Knows he has the advantage. Doesn't even end up needing either of them to complete that 1v1 kill. Very well played from TSM's mid laner, and he's going to be moving on now, and that could set up a potential, well, it actually does set up the matchup with Faker, because they, I believe, do meet in the second round of the bracket. Which
it was a great, rest in peace, great keystone to take there for Victor. Not option there, but instead with a Airy, and Uzi, is that what I think it is? That is Kleptomancy.
That is press the attack,
I'm bad at reading
so
keystones.
I think it is going to be... Yeah, just press the attack.
Okay.
So that is the 3-hit passive.
Yep.
But it's not what I would have necessarily expected for the 1v1. I was, personally expecting things to be more defensive. As we had seen, even Grasp on 80 carries in the past, things like Fleet-Footed is the kind of more defensive route. This is going to be very powerful, but you have to commit to the 3 hits to actually get it off, which is not necessarily that hard for Lucian because you're passive. You have the double tap. That's 2 of the 3 hits. If you can get those trades in, Q, auto, E, auto, etc., these sorts of things, it can put out a tremendous amount of damage very, very quickly.
Yep, for Levi on his side, kind of expected stuff here. Airy, Mana Flow Burn, Absolute Focus, Scorch on the sorcery side, then Iron Skin and Second Wind.
Yeah.
Kind of that defensive secondary tree.
The second win, very, very powerful. I do think in these sorts of matchups, especially for those AP casters who do not really have too much access to HP regen. They're not going to be building for the lifesteal and things like this. It's definitely interesting to see some of the choices, though, coming out of Uzi, actually going over heal, which is pretty interesting. Not a mastery. I see a rune rather taken hardly at all. He's also going for the attack speed, Legend Alacrity. He is going Mana Flow Blend and Scorch as his secondary tree in sorcery, so definitely a very aggressive setup. There's no sort of really like magic resist type talents. There's no regen type talents really. He is certainly set up to look for a kill, right? This is not really a kind of grind him out sustain them type of build.
Certainly not yet, but a lot of flexibility here for Lucian. Doesn't dodge that laser though. Uzi taking a little bit of damage actually early on for the harass, but Levi looks out of mana.
Yeah, he does look out of mana, but it's 2 potions down already for Uzi, and Levi, he does still have the mana flow ban, so he's going to be able to recoup a lot of this, and I'd say the early stage is going very well for him. Certainly having the push, getting access to that health crystal for Uzi makes a really, really big difference, because already being down a couple potions without something like a Doran's Blade, without any sort of innate sustain is going to kind of hurt you.
Gonna take this relic here, bit of extra health. Might even run it all the way back actually to the base. See if he completes his recall. Levi gonna be able to play up.
And the pros have been struggling to actually CS under the turret because of the differences between SR and this map. It deals more damage. It's not necessarily the easy setup of 1 hit on the range minion plus an auto, 2 hits plus a melee. That sort of thing is kind of mixed up. And you can see Levi missed quite a few more of the minions, and Uzi's able to go back. He gets a Vamp Scepter. He's already in lane before the turret is actually attacked, before it is reached by Levi, so he's going to be able to continue to CS. And it puts Levi in a bit of an awkward spot. Like, he can either choose to go back when Uzi could perhaps push it in and deny some of the minions, or he has to kind of just stick around.
And this is certainly one of the kind of weakest spots for Victor in general. He is a champion that on the Rift is known for having to make a pretty significant early investment to upgrade that Hex core. That'll take even longer and be less relevant for longer, given that the game is much shorter.
Yeah, and I'm really not expecting him to go that route because
so, no.
it is much more of a short game, because that takes a lot of gold, and also, honestly, just because Lucian can kind of dodge out of the second half of the Eve very easily. So I'm really looking to see something that's more kind of power early on, things like the Seekers, things like multiple Doran's rings, and these sorts of options, but could very easily be getting stopped here by Uzi. That does allow him to go back, but is going to try to push in, and we'll see that first buy, a couple Dorans and an Amp Tome. So going pretty aggressive here. And again, if Uzi is not in Victor's face, when something like the ultimate comes out, we've actually seen exhaust be, for the most part, relatively ineffective because the players are actually not in range oftentimes to really get them off and have it be super effective.
Yeah, kind of feels like business as usual though for Uzi. That vamp step to really just move things along. He's already 10 CS ahead and counting, as Levi is really struggling under the turret here.
Yeah, he is only 9 down now, but already when you're that far behind and you're missing a lot of them that are being pushed in, you're consistently being pushed in, you're already starting to think about, all right, I've got to kill him. Like, how do I do this? And that's what's going to be going through the mind of your opponent as well, right? Uzi goes back, he picks up 3 potions, the Doran's Blade, going to give him some more HP and even more of that lifesteal. So although he is kind of in his rune setup, very, very aggressive, he is getting a lot of lifesteal from the actual item purchases and going to be able to try to look for these triads, try to heal back up, and continually try to press any advantages.
He just uses the culling there, going to get a bit of harassment and a good chunk of the wave down again, shoving Levi back under that turret.
I mean, when he's pushing mid, he keeps getting the health relics, and Levi's already out of potions once again. Yes, he still does have his heal, but he's down below half HP. Uzi definitely looking very good so far in the 1v1.
Game kind of back to where he was. We saw him in this spot last year. Already halfway there. 52 to 38 now again. Uzi still keeping 10 plus ahead in the race for farm. Turret's even going to take a bit more chip here. Uzi just playing patiently.
Yep, and I think that's really intelligent. Like, he knows he has the advantage. He's going to be able to likely force Levi back to base much faster because he has the potions, because he has lifesteal, as long as he can trade relatively well. It has to be some sort of an all-in there for Levi. So Uzi going to play it out pretty safe, but Levi still will have his opportunities. The all-in at 6 is going to be very powerful. There's no flash available on Uzi, so if you use your dash poorly, if you get stuck in the Chaos Storm, that Victor ultimate, certainly potential to get taken down.
Absolutely, as Levi even happy to play back a bit more. Uzi kind of ran low on health. And of course has to actually hit things to get lifesteal back.
Levi has been quite accurate with those E's. Shooting out those lasers, he's been tagging Uzi almost every single time, so certainly very good skill shot accuracy so far from him, and has to dash out. But those are the opportunities where if you use your dash defensively like that before the abilities come out, and you do not back off as Uzi is doing, Levi can look for an all-in, but Uzi is playing it very intelligently.
Ooh, actually trying to go in for something. Perhaps ulti down from Levi. Uzi going to walk out of that one.
I don't even know if he hit the first tick. Like, that actually looked like it was just a straight-up whiff. Maybe caught him on the very edge, but either way, the ultimate being down and the summoner down, plus you're behind in farm is pretty brutal for Levi, and starting to look big grim.
And again, for all of Uzi's kind of signature aggression in 2v2, in 5v5, he's very patient.
He wants to win.
In the 1v1. Exactly. He really wants to win again.
Yeah, and I mean, he said it. No one has won 2 before. He's looking to be the first to do it, and sometimes that means playing for the smart win, right? Levi now has to try to push it out. He has to try to base, try to get something going.
Try not to die.
Uzi's looking for the all-in.
Uzi's diving in, exhaust down on both sides. Levi still running away, but Uzi gonna chase him down! First blood!
Nicely played there from
trying
Uzi.
to
Poke off the Azir, right? You have Comet on Lux, and when you have those slows on your abilities, it's going to be a hit confirm for your Comet, which makes it a very strong combination. You're just trying to throw out the E. I'm expecting an E-Max from Frozen, trying to poke out his opponent. A Mako can try to kind of control the minion waves, and one of the things that's pretty interesting because of these summoner setups that we're having, it's not something you normally have to talk about. He actually has a way to gap close, right? And you can look for an all-in with your E. If you do actually hit your opponent with E, you get the shield, you actually get a soldier spawn as well now, I do believe. So the all-in can be pretty strong in a situation where perhaps Mako is able to dodge a binding, dodge an E, and then find a way in. We'll see how effective he's going to be able to be, but already a little bit of trading back and forth. Both players probably going to just go back to base.
Yep, nice bit of harass there from Mako. Kind of a fun thing I like to track. Doesn't come up that often, but getting your mana flow band procced early can be relevant at times, because using it when you have full mana is actually obviously not very good, which is what it starts at level 1. Mako actually sticking around though. Going to get to the wave first here after Frozen based.
Yeah, really prioritizing just having the push. That's kind of what this tells me. Because he is going to be sacrificing some health to do that. You know, he's down around 90 or 100 health. Like, that is actually pretty significant. That's almost a full potion that he kind of sacrificed for not basing. But he has cleared out the wave, and he's hoping now that he will be able to deny enough of the CS away from his opponent to make that worth it. But he did miss 2 of the CS uncontested on his own, so we'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, like you said, sport sometimes not as used to getting them last hits. As Airy vs. Comet once again.
He's 4 for 4. Missed. Not doing so hot on the CS scene there.
Yep, gonna have to get them back through.
But it's 0 for Frozen right now, 1. So,
yeah.
I mean, although the Mako did miss a lot of farm actually pushing it in, Frozen is very clearly not used to last hitting on this map with how the turret does extra damage. He's not looking too comfortable there. And it is ending up with a slight advantage for Mako, even though he only got 6 of the 12 minions.
A step forward there for Mako. I think trying to get out from under the radius of E.
Part of the problem there, though, is Mako is trading into a cannon wave, right? So he's actually stepping forward, and I feel like he actually won those trades as far as the damage that the opponents dealt to each other. But when Frozen has a cannon that's actually retaliating there, it's going to do as much or more damage in the early game oftentimes than your abilities are actually dealing. So you have to be very cognizant of who has more range minions, who has the cannons working to their advantage. And right now it's Frozen that does have that wave kind of pushing for his side.
3 points Q for Mako. Probably not going to make a big difference not having your E. But certainly opting for, again, more trading power earlier. Frozen now level 4 though. Still taking damage.
I mean, the E is only really going to come into play if you're trying to actually go for a full-on all-in. So I think 2 points Q early on does make a lot of sense. As well, I expect to see 2 points E from Frozen in the early levels, and then go your W for the shield at level 4, which is what he's done. Mako, gonna have to see how much of this farm he can actually pick up, because right now they are tied. There's about 10 minions sitting at his turret. If he can grab some of this farm, could be a pretty nice advantage, get him a decent base, but so far has gotten the 1. He's going to pick up a couple more.
Yeah, missed the cannon, but trying to, again, kind of get the scraps under the turret. It's a couple there, going to keep it pretty close.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, 4 minions left there for Frozen to hit here, so he hits them all. They'll still be pretty even. Mako, they're taking a lot of harass as well, and this could be interesting on the back time as Mako going to grab his relic. Nice dodge of that light binding there by Mako. Lux's 6, certainly very relevant for some sort of, at least, harassment off. Forcing away, maybe getting a summon if you can connect with a light binding. Mako, though, playing up. Looks like he's going to try and get there first. Like, hitting down those minions.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. I mean, they're both staying around relatively low. They don't have any HP potions left, so...
Ooh, Mako going back in. Frozen forced to burn the heal there.
That's actually pretty nice, because it is traded back and forth, but now it's exhaust versus barrier. I do feel like Frozen is going to have more trouble getting good use out of the exhaust if Mako wants to sit back. There's not really going to be a chance for Frozen to do that, where you're always going to get some sort of use from that barrier. One of the really interesting choices here, though, is actually Celestial Body for Frozen. So he's actually taken 10% less damage dealt for 100 HP. So this is the mastery that you take 10% less damage dealt for the first 10 minutes, but you get the bonus health. So he's really kind of just prioritizing what he thinks to be survivability. He's figuring perhaps he can just poke his opponent out and make sure they can't get all in with that. He did also take the biscuit delivery, and oh my god, not even using the barrier. Mako, that was pretty close.
I hope he calculated that one, because that was
We'll
close.
give him the benefit of the doubt.
My goodness, nice snipe there from Frozen, actually hitting the edge of that pretty big laser hitbox.
The secondaries are really where the kind of differentiation here is, though. It's Celestial Body and Biscuit Delivery for Frozen versus Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter for Mako. So he is trying to look for the kind of healing from abilities, but I do think Frozen is kind of outthought him a little bit with the biscuits. I think you're going to get more health back than you can actually get in a short game from Days of Blood.
Oh,
for the all-in.
coming in, has the ultimate, shuffles perfectly onto Frozen. Needs one more
the minions are on him.
Yeah, Mako now actually just has to deal with the minions. Frozen gets a bit of a shield. The health bars are so low.
Oh, the minions are on Frozen. They're chasing him in. He's just going to die to those ranged minions.
Mako waiting
he doesn't
again.
Have to do anything.
Just, yep, chilling
Just
out.
stand back.
The soldiers do it. As CS new minions get the kill.
Oh my god. What a tilter for Frozen. The melee minion goes off on a rogue mission there, walks into the bush, and that's all it took. It gives the ranged minions the vision into the bush. Mako very intelligently backing off and pulls off a nice all-in. Sets up the minion kill there. He is going to move on. Support players looking pretty good.
I mean, a funny situation at the end there, certainly, but Mako with a smooth Azir
pretty
combo.
strong. We're going to have to see what they are going to bring out for us exactly, though.
Certainly curious to see what happens here, but finally a mix-up here. You know, as our third 1v1 match is underway. I like Power of Evil playing kind of a trademark champ, but airy on both sides. Pretty predictable here. Again, such a great harassment keystone.
Yeah, and Corrupting Potion there, that is kind of more of a standard top lane start if you are going to go for these sorts of builds. Would not be surprised to just see him go heavily for that Q harass and try to really get a lot of a poke down on Power of Evil with that. Obviously, Orianna is not a purely auto-attack based champion. You can retaliation trade with your Qs, with your Ws, and use spells only. So we'll have to see exactly how Power of Evil wants to try to play it out. But generally speaking, it is very oppressive in these 1v1s to go up against Pantheon.
Well, we did expect some mix-ups here for Power of Evil, so I'm going to read off his runes for you. Summonary, which we can see. Manifold Band, absolutely great. Absolute Focus. Scorch, Biscuit Delivery, and Futures Market. So secondary inspiration for Power of Evil.
Okay. This is kind of interesting. I actually feel like Futures Market makes a fair bit of sense in the 1v1 situation because if you can actually get a strong early buy, the debt does not really matter because the game is going to very likely end before the debt actually comes into play and you're looking for multiple buys. So you get that one super strong buy on your first back. That seems pretty intelligent. And if you are getting poked out very heavily, well, Biscuit Delivery, if the game is going long enough that you can actually get those biscuits, is going to be the extra potions. But as we can see, Power of Evil has already taken quite a bit of damage, and Jisoo is going to have a fair bit of sustain with the 3 charges of Corruption there. I also like some of the choices here for Jisoo. I think Mirror Shell, taking the MR there, as well as Second Wind, is going to help him quite a bit. And Nullifying Orb, that's essentially your mini Hex Drinker in this 1v1. That's a lot of added kind of defense against these magic damage abilities that Power of Evil is going to be looking to spam out.
Yeah, and if you're expecting some sort of all-in at one point along the 1v1, you're going to want that extra bit of shielding and effective health to get you through. Right now, though, PoE up a decent amount of CS. Jisoo kind of forced to play back. Couldn't quite get the spear harass going.
And I do feel like if you lose control of the creep wave, then it becomes very hard for Jisoo to look for these trades because Power of Evil can just use all of these ranged minions and the cannon creep to his advantage. And if you're getting pushed back and you're forced into a situation where the Qs are just being used, like these spears are just being used to CS, I think it starts to look very, very dire for the Pantheon because you now cannot actually push forward. You've lost control of the creep wave. You are using your harass tool to CS, but you're going to be able to CS much more poorly than your opponent. And already, I mean, look at the turret damage.
Yeah.
Just because of the push that Power of Evil has gotten. And
yeah, that was a double cannon wave that did a fair chunk of damage.
Yeah.
With a bit of help from Power of Evil to the turret. Finally evening up the experience as well for Jisoo. Was stuck on stranded at level 2 for a while. Isn't going to make it much easier.
And you know it's got to be an all-in, right? It has to be a kill that Jisoo is looking for. Power of Evil is going for his first base. He has his first biscuit from the mastery that he took there, the rune rather. And because of his Futures Market, he's able to actually get a pretty big buy here, right? This is a Ruby Crystal, Endurance, and 3 pots on top of the biscuit. Like, even early in the game, you can go around 200 or so gold into debt, so that is giving him those extra potions perhaps on top, which could really make a world of difference in this 1v1.
Certainly could, and again, a lot of defensive stuff, kind of as expected here. Power of Evil happy to farm things out with the lead he's built for himself already, but of course, if any sort of 1v1 starts, can at least get out, or maybe if Jisoo expends too many resources and has to kind of forced back in a last-ditch attempt to win the 1v1, then Power of Evil can, of course, get that kill. So, like you said, like the reason the farm condition is basically there is so that games just don't stall out when nobody dies. Because at some point, you're right, you fall too far behind, you're forced to do something, and once you're at that deficit, it's usually pretty difficult, but at least you have some other way out, potentially.
And I mean, Jisoo is waiting a long time to actually base. I'm wondering now if he literally is just waiting for 6 as his only way to all in. Because then if Power of Evil pushes too far up, you do have the ability to kind of ult in, and that is your gap closer. Like, that is your way to actually prompt this 1v1 that you finally try to force your opponent into. But he would certainly like to get a good buy, right? The turret is taking a lot of damage. He is going to have to go back pretty soon, because if he doesn't go back now, he is 6. He can use his man drop to come back, but the turret is getting low. Like, he pretty much has to all in right away.
Yeah, and I actually love what PoE did there. Hits the back caster creeps, lets them get low, and knows that if he needs to, he can instantly kill them, get 6, and try and get a kill under the turret. But that turret itself might be the actual win condition here for Power of Evil, because it is so low.
Smart from PoE, though. Just go back, right?
Yep.
Buy as much defense as you can here. You already know you have basically secured the game just based on the turret damage if it does not end up in you getting all in. And that's why he goes back. He buys more potions. He buys another Ruby Crystal. That is a lot of extra damage that the Pantheon is likely going to be unable to put out. I mean, already 300 extra HP from the Ruby Crystal. He has the 4 potions on top of that. Yes, there is a serrated Dirk for his opponent, but it's going to be tough for Jisoo. And it feels like it would probably require a mistake here from PoE for Jisoo to really be able to find an opportunity, because you can just kite back, like, and you're going to continue to have better push than your opponent with the Orianna wave clear. So unless Jisoo can find a way to ult in on PoE, I don't know how it really happens from this point.
Yeah, pretty egregious mistake as well, but here's Jisoo with the ultimate. He's actually going to go for it. Power of Evil going to kite his way back in. Jisoo jumps on. Exhaust is good, though, from PoE. And now Jisoo, shockwave back in. No way good to go. Still is the ignite. And Jisoo actually still fighting. He might have gotten that kill there, but Power of Evil did have the barrier.
And now he can push in. He can threaten the dive. He has to try to threaten the dive here. If he can get in,
he's going. No, that's too far.
Oh, it's a loss.
Oh my God, Jisoo!
You're kidding me. Jisoo comes up with the miracle kill there. Power of Evil could have just gone back to base. All the summoners were used. The ultimate was down from Jisoo, and you have to think if PoE just based, he would have been able to come back and knock down that turret.
Good either.
You know what? I can't stop Sneaky from doing what he does, so we'll see what happens here. Does have Comet. Jin doesn't have Flash, so didn't completely run back the Summoner's Rift Rune page and Summoner's Spells. BRTT with a heal and both with Barrier, so some minor differences there.
Yeah, and playing Airy as well for BRTT is definitely a popular mastery there on the Draven. And just to see how he wants to actually play this.
No, this is not the way. BRTT.
Run for the hills.
Yep. Cannot win auto attack trades versus Draven at level 1 unless they hold S.
Also not at level 2 or level 3 or level 4 and keep on counting. You're not going to win those auto attack trades, but you do have the spells, you do have the poke. If you can set something up, if you can poke him down before you go in, then obviously you do have the ability. Your short trades can also be very powerful with the 4th shot. If you can hit things like 4-shot Q combos, that can be a way to win. I do think that Sneaky's going to have to kind of play it somewhat intelligently. BRTT certainly can look to get aggressive and just try to smash Sneaky in a straight-up fight, whereas I think Sneaky needs to kind of try to avoid his opponent, look for short trades, try to be clever about it.
Yep, see BRTT already spinning those axes, though. Sneaky, though, meeting the wave pretty early and trying to keep his distance here. Does not want to get an auto range of the Draven if he can help it, but a good little bit of bouncing grenades. Actually gets the first wave down early.
And Sneaky is up 1 CS there after the first trade, but looking for the 4th trade, but he has to be careful. So he gets the move speed with that 4th auto and then really needs to kind of back up, because the continued extended trades are always going to go to BRTT as long as he has an axe, as long as he is continuing that. One thing, though, going for Sneaky is in the short term, the Longsword 3-pot start is going to be much more effective because it takes so long for Doran's Blade to actually be able to heal you up. With that lifesteal, you know, it's kind of a longer term thing, but he has 4th shot.
Really nice root actually from Sneaky.
Gets the summoner as well there. You know, BRTT getting pretty scared because, see, he did hit the full spell combo, the Q bounce, the W root, and he has 4th shot, so he can really threaten to finish him off there. Getting a big summoner advantage like that early on, already things looking pretty good for Sneaky.
Ooh, steal the relic, no, the other side. BRTT getting some damage back as well.
Sneaky will be able to retreat to his own health relic, but perhaps wants to maintain the farm advantage, wants to push this in. And because the wave is so heavily in Sneaky's favor right now, BRTT kind of has to back up. He cannot posture aggressively because that wave is enormous, and you really cannot afford to try to trade into it.
No, must respect him. We've seen that be very relevant today already in the 1v1 tournament. Sneaky again, just kind of holding out. Can kind of go back to the relic almost any time, you have to think. So he's going to get some harass back down. Nice comet there. Root doesn't connect, but the damage is there, which is still relevant.
Yeah, it doesn't get the auto, so can't actually trigger the root, but he hit his Q, he hits the comet, he hits his W. That's the way he's going to need to play it. It has to be more about the poke, about the abilities, not the straight-up auto trades, short trades, trades from distance. He is out of the 3 pots now, though. Maybe could have actually saved a potion and gone back and grabbed that relic earlier because it looked like he pretty much just got mana from that, but still does have the summoner advantage. And you hit another comet or two, BRTT is going to have to go back to base.
There's that comet Sneaky looking for it, but doesn't quite get there. Looks like a little recall back to bases. We'll have a reset here. We can check in with the runes though. Have a fun fact for everyone. They are almost exactly the same. Manaflow Band, Celerity, Scorch, Iron Skin, and Second Wind, with the Keystone being the only difference, which you can see on your screen. So I think if we're talking about 80 carries in 1v1 in this tournament, these are masteries I'm expecting to see a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think this would be the standard Manaflow ban, allowing you to get more poke out, Celerity for the move speed. Scorch is good in those short trades, and Comet versus Area is just more of a champion-based thing. Iron Skin and Second Wind going to be very, very effective in those 1v1s. The flat armor as well as the HP regen there, always going to be good. And grabbing a cloth armor actually there for Sneaky, so perhaps just kind of valuing that armor. Maybe we have seen some players rushing lethality in a couple of these games, so maybe try to preempt a little bit of that. But either way, it's going to be an effective buy, and does have a Doran's Blade to his name here also.
Yep, a bit more defensive there for Sneaky, but BRTT also filled up those Dorans and consumables, so should be okay. Level 6 for Draven, probably not too relevant apart from the stats.
Yeah, definitely a better buy though for Sneaky.
Yep.
And I mean, the level 6-4 Draven can be very powerful in an all-in, right? If you actually hit both parts of your ultimate, if you can get the pass-through and pull it back, like that is a massive amount of damage. And likewise, for Jhin, if you can poke someone out, you can threaten the kill simply with your ultimate, or alternatively, try to use it to poke out your opponent to try to get potions, which could be a little bit tough when you have 4 and 5 respectively, but still, options on the table.
Curious to see if maybe if Sneaky can get the push, if he just kind of moves back, uses the ultimate, as harasses BRTT while he's trying to hit a couple minions of damage here as well from the Draven. Sneaky trying to trade back, but as expected, Draven winning those trades. Good route though, here's the ultimate. Runs back out of the cone. Sneaky gonna need to stop firing away. Actually, face checks one extra shot. That's not gonna be it as Sneaky gets awfully low.
Oh, Sneaky needed to cancel that ult. BRTT was out of there and he kept on shooting. Not the best angle chosen. Barrier still available. That's both summoners down for BRTT, but Sneaky has to go back to base here. Had he aimed that ultimate better, that could have perhaps been a kill, or at least more forced out, more of an advantage there for BRTT, but misjudged the angle, perhaps thought he could catch him right on the very edge, because Jhin ultimate does kind of cheat a little bit with that. You can kind of hit people that look just barely outside of the angle sometimes, and either way, still does have the summoner advantage, goes back to base. Is going to be down on farm now, so he's kind of in the position where unless you can get control of the minion wave, you need to now look for a kill.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, lost control of the wave. Takes that relic. Doesn't get too much back from it there. There is one up from BRTT, but Sneaky doesn't exactly know where he is. CS going to get even back up a little bit more. Sneaky doing the smart thing and trying to deny maybe one or two minions here.
Well, he can actually deny quite a few because that's a cannon wave to a no cannon wave. So almost his entire wave is probably going to actually get denied there. It's 5 minions so far that BRTT has lost. So just pretty smart minion control there from Sneaky. Actually evens up quite a lot of it. He did not move forward and actually get the health relic though. So if they start trading, BRTT can kind of retreat back to that health relic.
Sneaky again getting the push back out, trying to farm it up. BRTT getting aggressive though. Turns it back on, forcing the barrier out of Sneaky. Sneaky now ulti. BRTT runs back towards the relic.
And the heal has now come back up for BRTT because he popped that very early. So Sneaky may not be knowing that. Heal is going to be expended offensively there. Potions being popped, but so much more sustain now on BRTT.
I love what BRTT is doing. Just getting aggressive again. Ultimate lets it go. Sneaky got down to the other end of it.
Yeah, I mean, Sneaky probably has to go back to base. He almost has his ultimate, and BRTT is low on mana, so perhaps that is why he feels like he could stay around. Both of them back to no summoners again. The exhaust is going to be up relatively soon, but he's going to look for the ult.
It's a great vantage point for the ulti, but Blood Rush there, going to hold on. Misses that third shot. Fourth does connect. Not too much damage, though.
Yeah, the health pack came back. He has fourth shot, so there is some threat moving forward. Very, very close game so far. If BRTT can continue to pick up these minions, it'll stay pretty even, but he's looking for the all-in on Sneaky.
Yep. wants to go in for it. Draven's W is so powerful in these situations. If he can keep catching axes and resetting it. Sneaky knows he just has to play so safe here.
Yeah, I mean, BRTT has 3
Oh,
potions.
what a block!
He has Vamp, he has double Doran, so there's so much more lifesteal. Sneaky has to leave. Like, you cannot actually maintain control from this point. The buy will be pretty interesting here for Sneaky, so he is going to go straight tabbies. Not looking for lethality.
Nope.
He's trying to just have more kind of power in the 1v1 trades, and also having the move speed advantage is going to be pretty big because you can retreat away from that blood rush and also choose where you're going to kind of chase down on your opponent more easily.
Yeah, pretty clear signal though for Sneaky. I want to farm this out and play defensive, at least for now. BRTT, they're going to get his recall in. Sneaky clears out these minions. Nice job there, getting, I think, all of them.
And while it is certainly a defensive buy, the move speed can be used pretty aggressively, right? Because that in combination with Celerity, you're also getting additional move speed on the boots because you have the percentage move speed from that. So if you can actually, get that force shot and get it out before the retaliation comes in from Draven, that can kind of give you an offensive advantage. And, in these extended trades, tabbies are extremely effective, but he certainly does not have the offensive power there. So you're not looking for as devastating of an ultimate if you got something like a little bit of lethality.
Yeah, the nice thing here is this is a very close game still. Well, mounting up towards the 90 CS count.
Well, Sneaky has the minion advantage here.
Ooh, tries to get the root down for a bit of extra damage. Can't find a BRTT, gonna turn it back on. Exhaust is down there for Sneaky. The minion's still just letting go on the BRTT. Running out of time here, and minions for BRTT as well. Sneaky almost has ulti also.
Yep, Sneaky does. BRTT does have his available though, so if Sneaky is low on health, you have to be careful. He can get the double master. He's going for the all-in here.
Too far forward. Barrier almost coming up for Sneaky. Doesn't have it yet though. BRTT going back in for it. Damage is good. Health will extend. Still, ultimate's good. Sneaky parallels it. No kill for BRTT, but that might give him wave control back. That's all he needs.
Yep, thankfully for Sneaky, the wave is pushing to him, so this cannot be a freeze really right now. The wave should build up and push back. We'll see, because the cannon coming in from Sneaky, it should equalize. Definitely expecting BRTT to be at an advantage as Sneaky gets back to lane, but double Doran's Blade, some long swords, and this one going to be really, really close. We'll see if either player gets kind of nervous and tries to go for an all-in, thinking they're going to lose on farm, because this is pretty much dead even right now, but that's a big wave pushing towards Sneaky right now.
That W missed a minion. That's almost heartbreak there for Sneaky. We're getting so close as BRTT does need to kill a few more minions.
He's looking for the minion win.
Looking for the crib. He is going to grab it. 1 CS difference. BRTT takes the win on farm.
100 to 99 there, and BRTT just able to outlast Sneaky in this.
That block from BRTT and that missed W that barely didn't kill that creep could have been the difference in that 1v1. So close between two great AD carry players, but Sneaky, for all the chuckles and all the goofiness, is going to fall down to BRTT with a really solid Draven performance.
Yeah, definitely a really close game there. Both of them kind of bringing out some fun picks. Sneaky well known for the Jhin. BRTT definitely a great Draven player. They agree to go with that matchup, and I mean, this one was really close. 2 CS advantage at this point, but Sneaky with the Q, trying to pick up a couple more, but BRTT just a little bit ahead. The reload there for Sneaky. The last auto was actually in the air to kill the cannon.
Grenade was bouncing as well. That was so close to Sneaky. And he knows it. BRTT's like, oh, I won. Awesome.